Thank you, he said, and having got what he wanted, he did not stay to waste time with the man. But made the best of his way to Charles Street, into which the north end of Clark's Row, now Clark Street, opened at that date. Deeply engaged with the paramount question in his mind, the identity of the young man in whose company Josephine had left Hawksworth's lodgings, he forgot the bailiffs. And it was with some annoyance that on reaching the Row he espied one of them lurking in a doorway on Charles Street. It was so plain that they were watching him that Sir Hervey lost patience, turned, and made towards the man to question him. But the fellow also turned on his heel, and retreating with an eye over his shoulder, disappeared in the square. To follow was to be led from the scent. Coke wheeled again, therefore, and meeting a potboy who knew the street, he was directed to Crockett's. The house the lad pointed out was one of the oldest in the row, a small house of brick, the last on the east side going north. Sir Hervey scanned the 5 windows that faced the street, but they told him nothing. He knocked and waited, and presently getting no answer, he knocked again and again, the potboy looking on from a little distance. After that, Coke stood back, saw that the windows were still without sign of life, and would have gone away, thinking to return in an hour or two, but a woman came to the door of the next house and told him, "The old man is at home, Your Honor. It is not 10 minutes since he was at the door." On which he knocked again, more loudly and insistently. Suspicions were taking shape in his mind. The house seemed too quiet to be innocent. He had his hand raised to repeat the summons once more when he heard a dragging, pottering step moving along the passage towards him. A chain was put up. A key turned. The door was opened a very little way. A pale, fat face with small, cunning eyes peered out at him. Unless he was mistaken, it was the face of a frightened man. "I want to see Miss Maitland," Sir Hervey said. "To be sure, sir," the man answered, while his small eyes scanned the visitors sharply. "Is it about a clock?" "No," Coke answered. "Are you deaf, man? I wish to see the young lady. Who is here? Who came last night?" "You are very welcome, I am sure, but there is no young lady here, Your Honor." Sir Hervey did not believe it. The man's sly face, masking fear under a smirk, inspired no confidence. This talking over a chain at that hour in the daylight of itself imported something strange. Apparently Crockett read the last thought in his visitor's eyes, for he dropped the chain and opened the door. "Was it about the clock?" he asked, the hand that held the door trembling visibly, "that the lady came?" "No," Sir Harry answered curtly. He was not deceived by this apparent obtuseness. Stumpfheit, Beschränktheit. Obtuseness. "I wish I tell you, you see the young lady who came here with a gentleman last night. She came here from Davis Street." There's a young lady here, the cookman answered slowly, but I don't know that she will see anyone. She will see me, Cook replied. You don't want me to summon her friends and cause a scandal, I suppose? Well, sir, for her friends, I know nothing about them, begging your honor's pardon, and it is all one to me whom she sees. If you give me your name, sir, I'll take it to her. Sir Hervey Coke. Dear, I beg your honor's pardon, I'm sure. Ach so, okay. Crockett ist dieser Uhrmacher. Aber wieso hat Crockett gesagt, als er sie eingeschlossen hat, dass er die Heirat nicht, dass sie die Heirat nicht unterbindet? Das check ich nicht. Ach, egal. Vielleicht findet man es noch raus. It's not to be thought that she'll not see a gentleman of your honor condition. But I'll take her pleasure if you be so. Moment, ich muss jetzt gucken. 280. Hier. Zurück. While Crockett, listening on the stairs, chuckled grimly. You thought you were going to stop my girl's marriage. Ach so. Das ist der Vater der Frau, die Tom heiratet. Das ist der Vater der Frau, die Tom heiratet. It's not to be thought that she'll not see a gentleman of your honor condition, but I'll take your pleasure if you'll be so good as to wait a minute. He left Cook standing on the threshold and retreated up the... genau. Was ist der Unterschied zwischen den englischen Wörtern napkin, handkerchief und tissue?
Obwohl alle drei Begriffe etwas beschreiben, mit dem man sich abwischt oder die Nase putzt, gibt es klare Unterschiede im Material und im Verwendungszweck. Hier ist die Übersicht. 1. Napkin. Serviette. Eine Napkin wird fast ausschließlich beim Essen verwendet. Ihr Hauptzweck ist es, den Schoß vor Flecken zu schützen und den Mund oder die Finger abzuwischen. Material.
Okay. Napkin, Serviette, Handkerchief, Taschentuch aus Stoff, Tissue, Kosmetiktuch. Here he went in, closing the door after him. Oha. Nee, auch nicht eingeschlossen. Sir Hervey, der nimmt alle hostage. Sir Hervey waited until he was out of sight. Then in 3 strides he reached the same door, lifted the latch and entered. Was? Then in 3 strides he reached the same door. Okay. 'Twill take him finally, Sal. The words were in the air. They were all he caught. Then silence, and he stood staring. Abrupt as had been his entrance, he was the most completely surprised of the three. For the third in the room, the lady to whom Crockett's words were addressed was not Josephine, but a stranger. A tall, handsome woman with big black eyes, fashionably dressed and fashionably painted. The surprise drew from her a hasty exclamation. She rose, her eyes sparkling with anger. Then, as Sir Hervey, recovering from his astonishment, bowed politely, she sat down again with an assumption of fineness and Languor. Without health, life is not life, it's only a state of languor and suffering. Mattigkeit, Schwäche.
Languor.
Languor. Taking a fan, she began to fan herself. 1,000 pardons, madam, Cook said. I owe you every apology. I came in under a misapprehension. I expected to find a friend here. That's very evident, I think, sir, madam replied, tossing her head. And one you were in a hurry to see, I should fancy. Yes, Sir Harry answered. He noted that the table laid with more elegance than was to be expected from Crockett's appearance, displayed a couple of chickens, pigeons, and gelatine, besides a pretty supply of bottles and flasks. I trust you will pardon my mistake. I was informed that a young lady came here last evening with a gentleman. Madam flamed up. And what, sir, is it to you if I did? She cried. Your pardon, I did not mean. I say, sir, what is it to you if I did? She repeated. If I did come here from Davis Street and come here, I don't remember to have met you before, and I fail to see what ground you had for following me or for watching my movements. I'm sure I never gave you any, and I'm not used to impertinence. For the rest, I am expecting some friends. Crockett? Yes, ma'am? Show this gentleman out, or perhaps I am hasty, she continued in a lower tone. The last thing I should wish to be to any gentleman, with a glancy from a pair of handsome eyes. If I have met you at any time at my Lady Bellamy's, perhaps, sir? Was? At my Lady Bellamy's, perhaps, sir? No, ma'am, I think not. Alter, das ist überhaupt nicht eng, aber ich komme heute nicht klar drauf. Or at that good-natured creature, Conyers, dear delightful woman, you know her, I'm sure. No, Cook said, I have not the honor of her ladyship's acquaintance. I don't think I need trouble you, father. If there is no one else in the house, it is evident I have made a mistake. I offer my apologies, ma'am, regretting extremely that I trespassed on you. I occupy the only rooms, she answered. And Crockett, if the gentleman is quite satisfied, the door, please, and send my woman to me. Sir Harvey bowed, muttered a last word of apology, and with a look around the room, which brought to light nothing new except a handsome mail that stood packed and strapped in a corner, he passed out. After all, his discovery explained the appearance of the bailiffs outside Wallenhope's. The overdressed air and easy manners of the lady he had seen were those of one not given to economy, nor probably too particular as to ways and means. It accounted also for the lady's departure from Davis Street immediately after her arrival. Clearly Lane had misinformed the Northeast. It was not Josephine who had gone to the house in Davis Street, nor Josephine who had left that house in the gentleman's company. Then where was she? As he paused in the passage, revolving the question and seeking half a crown to give to the man whom he had suspected without reason, a dull sound as of a muffled hammer beating wood caught his ear. He had heard it indistinctly in the parlour. It appeared to come from the upper floor, but he had given no heed to it. What's that? He asked. That noise, Your Honor? Yes. My journeyman. Perhaps you'd like to see him. Crocott continued with a malicious grin. Maybe he's the young lady you're looking for. Or make yourself at home, sir, he added bitterly. A poor man mustn't grumble if his house isn't his own, and his lodgers are insulted. Here, Coke said, and dropping the half-crown into the dirty hand extended for it, he passed out. Instantly the door clanged behind him. The chain was put up. A bolt was shut. But although so heavy stood a moment uncertain which way he should go or what he should do next, he did not notice these extreme precautions, nor the pale, ugly face of triumph that watched him from the window as he turned south to go to Arlington Street. At the corner of Bolton Row, Sir Hervey paused. He felt, to be candid, a trifle awkward in the role of knight-errant, a part reserved in those days for Lord Peterborough. The Northie's heartless cynicism and the instant and cruel desertion of the girl had stirred the chivalry that underlay his cold exterior. But from the first he had been aware that his status in the matter was ill-defined. He now began to see it in an absurd light. He had taken the field in the belief that Josephine had not stayed in Davis Street, that Hawkesworth therefore was beside the question, and that whether folly she had committed, she had not altogether compromised herself. He now found the data on which she had acted painfully erroneous. She had not stayed in Davis Street because she had not gone to Davis Street, but she might have joined Hawkesworth elsewhere. She might by this time be his wife. She might be gone with him, never to return. In that event, Coke began to see that his part in the matter would prove to be worse than ridiculous, and he paused at the corner of Bolton Row, uncertain whether he should not go home and erase with a sore heart a foolish child's face from his memory. His was a day of coarse things, a duchesses who talked as fishwives talk now, of madcap maids of honor, such as she, who, as down the stairs she jumps, sings over the hills and far away, despising doleful dumps. Of bishops seen a strange levies, of clergy bribed with livings to take strange wives, of hoyden lady kitties, whose talk was a jumble of homely saws and taproom mock modesties. What? This was a day of coarse things, of duchesses who talked as fishwives talk now, of madcap maids of honor, such as she, who, as down the stairs she jumps, sings over the hills and far away, despising doleful dumps, of bishops seen at strange levees, of clergy bribed with livings to take strange wives, of hoyden lady kitties, whose talk was a jumble of homely saws and taproom mock modesties, of old men still swearing as they had sworn in Flanders in their youth. At the best it was not an age of ideals, but neither was it an age of hypocrisy. And women were plentiful. Why then all this trouble for one? And for one who had showed him plainly what she thought of him. For a moment at the corner of Bolton Row, Josephine's fate hung in the balance. Hung so nicely that if Coke had not paused there, but had proceeded straight to Bolton Street, and so to Arlington Street, her lot would have been very different. But the debate kept him standing long enough to bring to a point two figures, which had just detached themselves from the crowd about Shepherd's Market. In the act of stepping across the gutter, he saw them, glanced carelessly at them, and stood, as the two, one behind the other, came up, almost brushing him, and turned to enter Charles Row. He reached out his cane and touched the foremost. "Why, Tom," he cried, "is it you, lad? Well met." Das ist Schicksal. He stood grinning in his finery, unable to say a word. Tom, for it was he, turned at the sound of his name, and seeing who it was, recoiled, as if the cane that touched him had been red hot. The collar mounted to his wig. He stood grinning in his finery, unable to say a word. "Why, Tom?" Sir Harvey repeated, as he held out his hand. "What is it, lad? Have you bad news? You are on the same business as I am, I take it." Tom blushed redder and shifted his feet uneasily. "I don't know, Sir Harvey," he stammered. "I don't know what your business is, you see." "Well, you can easily guess," Coke answered, never doubting that Tom had heard what was forward and had posted from Cambridge in pursuit of his sister. "Have you news?" "Have you news?" Hast du Neuigkeiten? That's the point. Tom had only his own affair in his mind. He wondered how much the other knew, and more than half suspected that he was being roasted. What? So, news? He faltered. "What sort of news, sir?" He had known Sir all his life, and still felt for him the respect which a lad feels for the man of experience and fashion. Cook stared at him. "What sort of news? It isn't possible you don't know what has happened, boy." Yeah. Then, seeing that the person who had come up with Tom was at his elbow listening. "Is this fellow with you?" he cried angrily. "If so, bid him stand back a little." "Yes, he's with me," Tom answered sheepishly, and turning to the lad who was laden with a great nosegay of flowers, as well as a paper parcel from which some white Spitalfields ribbons protruded. He bade him go on. "Go on," he said. "I'll follow you. The last house on the right." Nosegay. Nasenschwul. Sträußchen. Voll schwul. As well as a paper parcel from which some white Spitalfields ribbons. Paper parcel. Paket. Protruded. Herausschauten. Vorspringen, hervorquellen. Okay. Sir Harvey heard and stared afresh. "What? Grockets?" Tom winced and changed his feet uneasily, cursing his folly in letting out so much. "It's only something that he's taking there," he muttered. "But you know about your sister, Josephine?" Tom said. "Oh, she's all right, I tell you. You need not trouble about her." "Indeed? Then where is she? Where is she, man? Out with it." "She's with me." "With you?" Sir Hervey cried. "With you?" "Yes." "Was it you who took her from Davis Street, then?" "To be sure," Tom said. In his preoccupation with his own affairs, his sister's position had been forgotten. Now he began to recover himself. He began, too, to see that he had done rather a clever thing. "Yes, I was there. When she met that fellow," he continued, "Hawksworth, you know, and I brought her away. I tell you what, Sir Hervey, that fellow's low. He should be in the clink. She found him out sharp before he had time to sit down, and it's lucky I was there to bring her away, or Lord knows what would have happened. For he's a monstrous rascal, and the people of the house are none too good." "Last night, was it?" "Yes." "And you took her to Crockett's?" Sir Harvey couldn't make the tales agree. "Yes," Tom faltered, but the word died on his lips, and he grew hot again. He saw too late that he had put his foot in a hobble from which he would find too hard to extricate himself with all his skill, for it wanted Only a few minutes of noon, and at Crockett's, 100 paces away, his bride was expecting him. Das heißt, wahrscheinlich sind beide Frauen da drin jetzt. Even now he ought to be on his way to the chapel in Curzon Street, and Crockett's was in sight. From where he stood, he could see the boy with the flowers and wedding favors waiting at the door. But Coke, the inopportune, had hold of his elbow, and if he went to Crockett's, would wish to go with him, would wish to see his sister, and from her would hear all about the marriage. And hearing would interfere. The cup of Tantalus was a little thing beside this, and Tom's cheeks burned. The wildest projects flashed through his brain. Should he take Sir Hervey to Crockett's, inveigle him into a bedroom, and lock him up till the wedding was over? Oh dear. Or should he turn that instant and take to his heels like any common pickpocket, like without word of explanation, so lead him from the place? He might do that and return by coach himself. And Coke broke the tangled thread of thought. There's something amiss here, he said. She's not at Crockett's, or they lied to me. She's not? Tom cried. You've been there? Then you may be sure she has gone to Arlington Street. That is it, you may be sure. Aye, but they said at Crockett's that she had not been there, Coke retorted, looking more closely at Tom and beginning to discern something odd in his manner. If she's been there at all, how do you explain that, my boy? She's been there all night, Tom answered eagerly. I'm bail she was. I tell you it is so. And you may be sure she has gone to Arlington Street. Go there, and you'll find her. I don't know about that. You don't think that when your back was turned? What? She went off again? With Hawksworth? I tell you, she's found him out. He's poisoned to her. She's there, I tell you, or she was, Tom cried. But Crockett denied her. Oh, nonsense, Tom said. He was as red as fire, with asking himself whom Sir Hervey had seen. Oh, nonsense, he repeated hurriedly. He felt he could bear it no longer. She was there, and she has gone to Arlington Street. Hau endlich ab! Very good, Sir Hervey replied. Then we'll ask again. The man at the house lied to me, and I'll have an explanation, or I'll lay my cane across his shoulders, old as he is. There was someone I did see, but come along. We'll look into this, Tom. It was in vain Tom hung back, feebly protesting that she had gone there. There was no doubt that she had gone to Arlington Street. Will he, nil he was dragged along. A moment and the two, Coke swinging his cane ominously, were halfway up the row. In the midst of his agony, Tom got a notion that his companion was taking sidelong looks at his clothes, and he grew hot and hotter, fearing what was to come. When they were within a few yards of the door, a hackney coach passed them, and turning, came to a stand before the house. There, what did I say? Sir Hervey muttered. I take it. We are only just in time. Perhaps it's the coach that took her away, Tom suggested, trying to restrain his companion. Shall I go in? I know the people, and inquire? Yes, you'd better let me do that. He continued eagerly, button-holding Sir Hervey. Perhaps they did not know you. I really think you had better leave it to me, Sir Hervey. No, thank you, Coke answered. There's a shorter way. Are you here to take up my man? To be sure, Your Honor, the coachman answered readily, and long life to her. Eh? Long life to the bride, Your Honor. Ah, Sir Hervey said, his face growing dark. I thought so. I think, my lad, he continued to Tom as he knocked out at the door, she and somebody have made a fool of you. No, Tom said. It's not for her. We shall soon learn, Cook answered, and he rapped again, imperatively. Ich kann nicht aufhören. Tom tried to tell him the facts, but his throat was dry, his head whirled, he could not get out a word, and by Crockett's dragging steps were heard. In the passage, the latch was raised and the door opened. "Now, sir," Cook cried, addressing him sharply, "what did you mean by lying to me just now? Here's the gentleman who brought Miss Maitland to your house, and if you don't tell me, and tell me quickly, where is she? I'll send for the constable." Crockett was pale, but his face did not lose its sneering expression. "She's gone," he said. "You said she had not been here." "Well, it was her order, I suppose." "A lady can be private, sir, if she chooses." "What time did she go?" 10 minutes gone." Tom heaved a sigh of relief. "I told you so. She's gone to Arlington Street." "It's what I told you." "I don't believe it," Cook answered. "This coach is for her. It is here to take her to the rascal we know of. And I'll not leave till I've seen her." "Why, man?"